Live from the rooftop of San Felipe, we have me and Rob here talking shit about random shit, and here we are. So, groove on it or don't, whatever turns you on there, feller.
Fuck yeah.
So,
let's just get into it, dude.
I don't know what we're getting into.
Start with an introduction.
My name is Charlie.
The Cosmic Chopper Nomad.
As opposed to, we won't refer to me by my slave name because nobody likes that shit anyway. But, I've been referred to as El Nomad, that fucking guy, blah, 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 whatever. But here we are. We're live at the rooftop and we're talking shit about all kinds of shit, I think.
Yeah, we're talking all kinds of chopper shit, man.
Chopper shit, fuck yeah! Choppers rule everything around me. Cream.
Get the money, dollar bill, y'all.
Anyway.
Yeah, dude. Damn, I don't know. This is always so awkward to start. I'm such a bad fucking starter here.
Where to begin? What do you guys want to talk about? I mean, we could talk about anything.
Dude, let's talk about the card game that you won your first motorcycle.
For fuck's sake. So
let's start at the beginning of motorcycles.
The beginning of motorcycles.
Yeah.
So as we previously discussed, I've been kind of ate up with bikes since as long as I can remember. My grandpa had the 78 Goldwing, and I remember I was probably about like 4 years old, and I remember climbing on it. It was sitting on the center stand underneath their porch in Las Lunas, New Mexico. And I remember like it was like a mountain, it was like me jumping onto a roof at this point. But I'd crawl up on that thing and I'd get on and be like, oh dude, one of these days this is gonna be me, I'm gonna get all the chicks. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them, but I'm gonna get all the chicks. I'm gonna be going flying through space, like I thought that was like the key to salvation in my 4-year-old mind. And I rode around with him a little bit on it. My parents weren't into it at all. My parents were super not into it. Both my parents are in the Marine Corps. They're pretty strict. And, my grandparents, well, they kind of were old and crazy and weird. And, I'd go and fuck off with them. And it was cool. I liked them, but until they didn't like me anymore. And that's later on in the story. But at any rate, I already thought motorcycles were cool, but I had no access to them, even though I was a child. And I don't know, I made friends with this dude when I was about 7 years old. His name was Heath, and his dad, he was a Mormon kid, and so his dad was only like fucking 27, and so he was still young and fun. My old man was like 42 years old, and it was very draconian, you're going to be to the letter, you're going to, it was a very regimented world that I was brought up in. Everyone thought he was my grandpa. He was my dad. He was 40 years old. And it's like, fuck, he's old. And like, here I am, 44 now. I'm like, oh dear, I'm falling down the same hole. But at any rate, I'd hang out with Heath, and his old man was pretty cool, and they had dirt bikes, and he had this IT 490, and he took me for a ride on it and went off a couple little jumps. Man, I was shitting gold bricks. It was like the coolest thing ever. They had a couple PW50s, and here I am like 3 foot nothing or whatever, getting on this PW50, and he's like, oh sure, you could ride it. And so I remember going down his driveway, and as soon as I turned the corner, I fucking dumped it. And I remember like falling, and my hands hit the ground, and I look up and I see the blood, and I look over my shoulder and nobody saw it. And I was like, okay, just get on real quick and act like nothing happened and go. And I did, and I was like, it worked. And so ever since that day, like that's been programmed in my mind that that's the appropriate way to eat shit. You're gonna fall, you're gonna get up, you're gonna hope that nobody saw it. Nowadays it's a little different because there's cameras everywhere, surveillance technology, big brother, blah, blah, blah. But at any rate, in my mind's eye, I just hope that nobody sees that shit because you're gonna go down. It's not if, it's when and how bad. Well, anyway, it wasn't that bad. But I got back on it, and, I rode it out, and we go and have little dirt bike adventures, and it was cool, and I didn't really tell my parents about it. And then my other neighbor kid had like what was it? I think it was like a 450 street bike, and we took it out to the gullies. I grew up in New Mexico, like out in the middle of nowhere, this little shithole town, Grants.
Oh, yeah.
And, we're...
I never knew you. I don't know why I always think you're from, like, Idaho or Utah.
No, I'm from Grants originally, but I had a pad in Utah, in Utah before that. Well, after that.
Yeah, when I met you, that's where you were at.
But I grew up in West Central New Mexico, and, I guess I don't know, I had exposure to bikes, and I could ride by the time that I was a kid, but I didn't ever have my own bike. And, I got a little bit older as things went on, and I don't know, with my parents being the way they were, my old man always used to say, well, if you think that you have a better idea about things and you want to leave, you're more than welcome to. You're more than welcome to walk out that door, but realize that all the provisions that come with your being here will cease henceforth at that point in time. So if you want to make that move, be judicious about such. But anyway, at one point I was 15 years old and I thought I had it all figured out. And one day, like, he was giving me that speech and I was like, well, it's been a pleasure, but today is the day. I'm out.
Damn.
Shook his hand, hopped in my truck and split. I figured I have a driver's license. I work at the fucking Creek Motel. I got a job. I got shit to do. I'm going to school. I'm making something. I figured I had it all figured out. Well, I figured I'd go to Durango, and it was over Christmas break around the time that this happened, and I went up to Durango in the wintertime, and I quickly realized that the doors were not going to open for me quite as profusely as I had anticipated. Me and Jared were just talking about it earlier. Like, I found myself sleeping underneath the table in the laundromat, just trying not to fucking freeze to death, and I didn't have no money. And this is like goddamn 1994 or something, right? And, I didn't know anybody there, and nothing was going my way. And, the only money I had was my credit card, which was like about a 6-foot piece of fuel line. And, you could still fucking steal gas back in them days. So I stole enough gas, I ended up going back to Grants. But my pride wouldn't let me go back home, and I probably wouldn't be allowed to anyway. So, it wasn't like, fuck you, mom and dad, you didn't knock me enough. And it was like, I figured I could handle my business as a grown-ass man at 15, which was, I wish that I knew everything again. But at that time, I goddamn knew everything. I must have forgot it somewhere along the way, but I'm not so sure anymore.
Right.
So, I go back to town, and I was kind of like couch surfing on one friend's pad, another friend's pad. And one day I'm at the post office, and I run into this pal of my dad's that I'd met when I was like 8 years old. And it's like, oh, hey, man, where you been? I haven't seen you for a while. I haven't seen your truck in the driveway. It's like, I've kind of been around. Where are you staying these days? Like, here and there. And while we're in the post office, like, well, if you're not living anywhere, you want to come stay at my pad? What do you mean? It's like, well, because my dad worked for the highway department, so he was gone half the time. He was gone throughout the week, and he'd come home on the weekends, and he was getting old and tired, and I get it, it's a good way to get down. And I figured, like, well, if you're going to make some money, you're going to have to go out and get it. That just seemed like the logical approach. If you just have some swag job in town, you're not going to make shit for money. You got to go out somewhere and do some bullshit that nobody else wants to do, and that's how you're going to make money in the world. And my dad, I thought he stuck a fat hog in the ass. He was making like $30 an hour, work for the highway department, right?
Yeah.
And this was his big hustle, This is his big hustle. This is, a whole different economic reality than now. Granted, like with inflation and the way things are now, it's entirely different. But, so, I don't know. It was a very short conversation. It was like, well, you want to come stay at my pad? And sure. And so he had a place up in Lobo Canyon, which is, about 10, 15 miles out of town. And so, it's like, well, just make sure that the gate's locked and nobody comes on and land when I'm not around, and make sure the pipes don't freeze, and take care of the joint while I'm not around, because he was gone all week too. But there's a little bit more work to be had with a pad that's out in the middle of nowhere. And so, that was my new occupation. I would maintain his facility, and I would, like, I had my little job. I ended up getting a job as a busboy shortly thereafter, so that kind of sorted out a lot of my food things. I still, all them chicks coming in on dates and shit, like, I loved it. They would come in and they'd take a couple bites after getting steak, and and be like, can I take that out of your way, ma'am? And I'd be taking it back in the kitchen. Me and the Mexican fellers back there be fighting over the food, and I ate good back in them days. I ate good, and it was free, and it was fun. But
is this dude you moved in with? Did he get you involved with motorcycles?
Well, that's coming. That's coming.
Okay,
like
right.
he had the '76 shovel head, right? The '76 FLH. It was red, and well, he got it, and it was stock, and we proceeded to tear it apart in his kitchen. And I'd work on stuff while he was gone. We'd work on it together when he was around, and like I kind of got just ate up with these shovel heads he had, and that was a hot ticket back in them days. I mean, Evo's like, this is back in the day when you want to get a Harley, you're gonna be on a waiting list for X amount of time. I'm brokered and shit, and I'm in the Bermuda Triangle of motorcycle parts. New Mexico, my part of New Mexico didn't have that much going on when it come to motorcycle parts. Or motorcycles in general, and I didn't have shit for money, I was as broke as a joke, and basically just free living dude at 15. I still went to school, I still took all of my responsibilities seriously, because I figured like you got to make something out of yourself, and I tried to do all the right things. I mean, I graduated second in my class, and they thought that I faked it somehow. It was a really weird scene, but I was very studious, and I played the school game well. It didn't really take me very far, but I was led to believe that was my path to salvation. That was the way that you were going to get out. That was going to be your meal ticket. You do good in school, you got to go to college, you got to do all this. I went to college, I did all that bullshit, and I still ended up in a goddamn oil field. But
yeah, but that like where you went in the oil field is kind of your ticket too.
Is it? Is it really?
Yeah, but didn't you kind of need college to do what you do?
No,
I wouldn't be calling you a geologist or like whatever.
Well, when I first broke out, I was a mud logger. I did well site geological supervision. I rented tools. I roughnecked. I ended up doing a lot of different shit. And that's a whole nother story. We ain't even that far along in the process yet. But back to New Mexico. I'm still in fucking high school, going to school, living up the canyon, had my little job, and so my pal had all these other pals that was into bikes. A few dudes had some shovel heads and iron heads, and that's where I really got my disdain for iron heads. But anyway, this one dude, Gerald, right? He had this fucking it was like 1994 or 5, and that was really in the like, oh, Harley Davidson, brother, like there was a lot of that stuff going on, and it was like a very big status symbol because there's a lot of financial obligations that be associated with having any Harley. I mean, even back in those days, you couldn't even touch an iron head for like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. And I mean, back then, $7,000 might as well have been $7 million. I had nothing.
Right.
And well, anyway, all the dudes are up there, up the canyon. We're drinking and talking shit and playing cards. And I was always a little shady when it comes to cards, honestly. And like he starts talking shit about his fucking Sportster, which is his first Harley, and blah, blah, blah. But he was just riding this goddamn 750 Yamaha not too long before. And so I start talking shit about his 750 Yamaha not too long before, and trying to smack him down of his Harley Davidson, whatever, and it was a Seika 750. It was not the Seika 2, it was the Seika 1, like 1983. That thing was a pile of fucking garbage. But anyway, I ended up swindling him out of it in a game of cards, and I did cheat, but I lost. Like, I lost that game. I got that bike, and I thought, like, oh man, I'm set. I'm gonna make this thing run. This is before the internet. I'm trying to figure out that X system, and those carburetors were dog shit, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was trying to figure it out, and I could get it to run, but I couldn't get it to idle right, and it'd go like stink when it was going, but then it would die, and then I had some deal with some other local guy that I knew from the fucking junkyard that was going to paint it for like $100, and it comes back goddamn Corvette yellow, and the bane of my existence is a yellow motorcycle. If you have a yellow motorcycle, I'm sorry, but that's just unacceptable. I mean, the first of everything in my life, the first motorcycle I rode was yellow. The first legal motorcycle that was mine was yellow. The yellow was a PW50, and that was still pretty ill. First car I drove, 78 Honda Civic. It was fucking yellow. Like, everything first in my life was yellow, and fuck yellow. It's just unacceptable. You don't see a lot of guys making yellow bikes anymore, or yellow anything, because they probably figured it out too. They got the memo, but if you haven't got the memo yet, like, yellow's kind of whack. But if that's your thing, that's your freak
Jesse
flag
James actually last week just did a post, this little story about how he turned down building a bike for Sylvester Stallone because he wanted it to be yellow. And he goes, I don't fuck with yellow bikes.
That's fair. That's fair. It's totally fucking fair. But I would have to agree with Jesse James on this account, because a yellow bike is just unacceptable. And you might think it's a good idea at the time. You might think it'll grow on you. Dude, first bicycle I had was fucking yellow, man.
Oh, damn.
So I was like 7 years old, and my brother had a bicycle, and I could ride it. And, you know, I could already ride a bike, but I didn't have one. And, you know, my mom's like, well, maybe for your birthday. And so she starts talking about, like, oh, we'll get a bike for your birthday. And this is months in advance. And I'm so pumped. I think I'm going to have the coolest bike in the world. And, you know, I mean, this is probably like 1986 or something, man. And, yeah, well, you know, I have this idea in my mind of what this bicycle is going to look like. I think it's going to be the best thing in the world. She's got it on layaway at some secondhand store, this $30 bicycle, but that might as well have been $1 million when I was 7 years old. But, you know, this bike was going to be mine. And I remember she went to go pick it up, and I'm at the house, and I'm super pumped. She comes back and pops the hatch of that little Honda Civic. And there was this yellow-ass girl's bike with banana bars on it, you know, like, I was crestfallen, you know, like, I was so pumped, and this isn't what I wanted, but I didn't want to seem like I wasn't appreciative, but I wasn't into it. But, you know, like, I'm in a super awkward situation for a 7-year-old, like, I love it, you know. I totally lied. I said I loved it. And, you know, I tried riding. It's like, well, maybe it's going to grow on you. Just like every other time, it's like, well, maybe you'll warm up to it. Right. I fucking didn't, man. You know, like, my pal down the street, like, we ended up tearing it all apart. And I took the best parts of it and this frame that I found behind my buddy's house and all this other stuff, and made this bike, and I was pretty pumped on that bike. Like, that bike was acceptable. I wasn't going to get rocks thrown at me by the neighbor kids. You know, I wasn't going to get shot at with BB guns. You know, like, you're riding around in La Loma and Grants in 1986 on a girl's bike being a white boy. Like, you're going to get rocks thrown at you. You're going to get your ass kicked. I was a little dude. I already rode the short bus. Like, I had all these factors against me. I had to do something to rectify that. Like, you can't survive like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we pimped it out, and I was riding around. My mom's like, you can't be happy with anything. I hate to think what's going to happen when you start getting interested in girls, and you're going to want to change them. It's like, well, what does my bicycle have to do with broads, lady? You know, I'm 7 years old. Fuck off. But, you know, you don't say that. I mean, that's a 44-year-old version of me, but at the time it was a very difficult situation for me because, you know, I wanted to have the favor of my parents, but at the same time, I knew this wasn't right. And I was just trying to do what was fucking right.
It's a mind fuck for a kid, dude.
Oh, dude, a huge mind fuck, and she has no idea. I've talked to her about it later on, and she was like, I get you this perfectly good bicycle. And I'm like, perfectly good, but you don't know nothing about it. It'd be like, well, let's take a couple steps back. And this is completely aside from what we've been talking about, but let's just talk about the tradition of giving gifts. I think the tradition of giving gifts is kind of fucked up, especially whenever you're giving somebody something that you're not 100% sure that they're going to be stoked on. They have to lie to you and act like they're into it, or, you know, your relationship will be soured. You know, like, what do you get for the guy that has everything? If you know a guy wants something, then great, hook him up.
Hookers,
or, you know, like, whatever it is. You know, like, you know a guy's really into this thing, hook him up, and I think that's a solid-ass thing to do. But if you're just getting something off Amazon for the sake of giving it just because it's what Hallmark tells you to do on Easter, Christmas, birthday, this, that, the other thing, whatever they condition you to purchase some bullshit that someone might not be into. Whereas, you know, like, I think about all the gifts I got in my life, and there's only a few that really stand out. And, you know, like we had me and Velarde's birthday party a handful of years ago. Spencer gave me this fucking pistol. It's 100 years old. I almost shit myself. I had no idea I needed this or wanted it. And I mean, like, I've still never been able to find bullets to shoot in it, but it was like the coolest goddamn thing. I'm still stoked on it. Like, this fucking pistol is rad. It's 32 short. I can't find the rounds. If you guys got a line on 32 short rounds, I'm in the market. Hook me up. I would like to shoot this thing, but it's like 100 years old, and it is made by like a Ivor Johnson bicycle company. Like, this thing is fucking bad. But, you know, like, that's such an amazing gift. I had no idea. And like, he knew me enough to be like, oh, Charlie's gonna fucking dig this. And he was like, you're fucking right. He totally digs this. But, you know, like, if I give you something that you're not pumped on and you're just like, oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
You know, you're like enabling it. And it's this weird tradition, but you know when your bros want something and you give it to them. But if you don't have something to give to them, wait until you do. And it doesn't have to be like on their birthday or Christmas or whatever. If I find something that I know one of my dudes is going to like more than me, I'm going to give it to them whatever day that's going to be. And they'll be so stoked because it's like out of the clear blue sky and I know they're going to be pumped on it.
Yeah.
And if there's no like seasonal obligation tied to it, I think that's a more favorable thing. So think about that, you know, like your ungrateful children want you to give them some bullshit every year because of some cookie cutter holiday just to try to tax you for more of your hard-earned dollars. Like, fuck that, man, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, you don't want your kids to feel deprived either. I don't have kids, so I'm not really the best to take, like, you know, fatherhood advice from, but, you know, make those little fuckers appreciate it a little more, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway,
back to where we started. Where were we? We're talking about that yellow bicycle and then the yellow motorcycle. I had this fucking 750. We took a couple left turns. I know. But anyway, this 750 was a pile of shit, and I had that thing for several years, man, and it was never fucking right. I even had it into college, even after I split town, and I was in Las Cruces. I ended up trading it for my back piece. You know, I traded it to one of my buddies for a tattoo after I rattle canned it black, and I got it running half-ass good.
Was that your first chopper?
No.
What was like your first proper chopper?
My first legitimate chopper.
Yeah.
My first legitimate chopper was a goddamn rust bucket.
Okay.
And that thing come together in about 2005. I didn't have two nickels rubbed together. I had like that CB750. I had another, I had a 750 Shadow. I had a couple 750 Shadows. I had a KZ550 that I put a shit ton of miles on. I broke my fucking skull. That thing was a fucking, oh dude, that bike, I got that bike for next to nothing. I got it off my brother. Like, he kind of hooked me up after he realized like that wasn't his thing. And man, I rode the wheels off that goddamn thing. I have a heart. I have this icy black void in my chest where my heart should be, where there's like this 4-cylinder motor and like I can't get away. I can't get away. Like, there's something about a 4-cylinder UJM motor. You know, I'm real fond of the KZ1000s, KZ750, KZ750 twins. I'm into that too. You know, CB750, but I don't know. I'm kind of over a lot of that game. I mean, it's bitching. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bitching CB750s. I've recently stuck my toes in the water of some Suzukis and been happy with them. But I remember back then, I thought, you know, when I had that 550, there was nothing that 550 did for me that none of my other bikes in the future didn't do. I don't know if that makes sense, but I used to think like, oh man, when I get a Harley, everything's going to be different. When I do this, it's going to be different. But man, I went goddamn everywhere on that 550. I learned everything about a 4-cylinder motor from that 550. I kept it up. I've rebuilt it after wrecking it and breaking my skull. I didn't have a car. Like, that was all I had for a long time. And man, me and that 550, like, we got it done, and the thing would go 100 miles an hour now. I mean, like, it'd take me a little while to get there, but you get on the full throttle program, and that little 550 would fucking get it done, contrary to popular belief. And this is an LTD model. Anyway, that one went away. I sold it. I ended up disappearing for a while. You know, I went to like Mexico and lived there for a little while in Zacatecas, and then I went to Guatemala, and you know, I was still in college and kind of went back and forth and here and there and whatever. I went up to Alaska for a while. I lived in Montana for a year. I didn't have a bike when I was in Montana. It was too cold, and I just didn't have one at the time. But I went out fishing in Alaska and then worked on process barge, and that was a real suck fest. But it's kind of like a floating jail. I had a lot of weird shit go down with that. But with all the loot that I made out there in the course of like 3 or 4 months, I blew it all on rent for a few months. I bought a Honda Shadow, like a 98 750 model. Oh, I thought that I was king shit. I didn't even have a fucking car, but you know, the bike was all right. I rode that thing everywhere. I rode that to the first EDR, you know. I mean, like, that Shadow was in my life for a long time. You know, Keith, if you're listening to this, like Keith Johnson, you know, he fucking chopped that thing. We got rid of that thing years ago, but man, that thing had like 90,000 miles on it, still ran just as good as when I got it. It only had 2,500 miles on it. I bought it for like $4,000. That thing was a good fucking egg. But you know, I still wanted fucking Harley or something. I mean, maybe I was skewed. Maybe I thought of things different. I don't know.
I'm just gonna move that closer because it's getting dark. But I kind of met you at a pivotal point in your life, and the reason I say that is after you told that story of falling and getting up, and pretend like nobody's watching or whatever, and the rust bucket. I met you right after you crashed that thing, right after you built it.
Oh, dude. Oh, dude. The rust bucket.
And that was like 05 or 06.
Oh, mi corazón.
The first gypsy run.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, we're really going back.
That was a good story, though. And you telling the story of hitting the floor as a kid. And that was the adult version of you trying to pretend like nobody was watching. Oh,
but dude, like, there's a couple truck drivers watching that one, and none of us could believe it. And I walked away from that shit with just a cracked rib and still finished up. And it was the second year of the Stampede. That shit was heavy. Oh, dude, I can't even believe that shit happened. And I walked away. I mean, I've gotten fucked up by a lot less things than that. But I was going like 100 miles an hour and slid out and outside of Russellville, Arkansas. And oh, dude, that was a fiasco. But the rust bucket, you know, so after all that bullshit we talked about, you know, I ended up going out to the oil field after I went to Montana. I come back, I finished, I got my degree. I couldn't even buy a job. I'm working at a Honda shop, blah, blah, blah. I ended up, you know, I was trying to get a job with this degree that I spent all this time on, and you know, I couldn't find nothing. But some yokel hit me up one day and said, give me $100 a day to look at dirt in Wyoming. And that was a job description. And I didn't really realize I was getting in the oil field, but that's how I got in the fucking oil field. I didn't even have no money to go home, right? All I had was my goddamn Honda Shadow, a couple $100, and I just fucked off and split. And went up there, and I'm in this. Oh, dude, it was.
Oh, dude, let's shift gears here. Let's talk about the ultimate. You getting up and splitting and going to Europe.
Well, that wasn't.
Can we talk about Europe? Is that even?
No, Europe is cool, but
talking about.
No, Europe is cool, but it wasn't getting up and splitting. Like, that was planned months in advance. We had this pal.
Oh, I kind of metaphorically meant that. Yeah, I know you didn't like get up and split there. I'm just saying, like, you know.
No, Europe was sick,
I'm
though.
just shifting gears a little. You know?
I was planning on just hanging out. Well, after I got out of college, you know, like, I was planning on, me and my buddy Peter were going to go to my other buddy's wedding in Ireland. Like, he met some older broad and was marrying this chick, and it was on the coast in Ireland somewhere. It seemed like a great idea. Was set to go. I'd already traveled a little bit, you know. I'd already been to Mexico, Guatemala. You know, I'd already traveled a fair bit for a younger dude. I didn't think Europe was going to be a thing. Like, I speak English, you know. I think that this seemed like a pretty good arrangement. So we're going to fly into London and then take the ferry over to Ireland. And, well, we got 2 different tickets, me and my pal, and I was going to get there first. And I figured, well, I'll just wait in the airport till he shows up. We'll get on the ferry, we'll haul ass, everything will be great. Hang out there for a handful of days, go down into Europe for a couple of weeks. And, you know, my whole trip was going to be like 2-3 weeks originally, I planned. Well, I get to London and, you know, give them my passport and they take it away and everybody fucks off. And next thing you know, I got these dudes coming and locking me up and they put me in a cell underneath Heathrow Airport for like 4 or 5 days with all these West Africa fools feeding me nothing but like onion salad sandwiches and coffee, and I stink. And I've been with all these dudes from Africa and like I'm mad, and you know they kicked me out of the country. I full on got deported, and you know, I was kind of a dick about it at that point, and so they did physically remove me. And that you know, it was close around 9/11. You know, the tensions were a little higher. They put me on this plane. Oh man.
Didn't they send you to Italy though? I thought Italy was involved in this story.
Italy is involved later. Italy's involved later. So, you know, I get back on the plane. They put me on a plane. There's a commercial flight. And whenever you get deported from a country, they put all of your shit in the custody of an international air marshal. At least they did at the time. I don't know if they do that anymore, but, you know, back in like 2001, 2002, that was kind of how they rolled. And so I didn't have a passport. I didn't have any of my shit. I hadn't seen any of it for a week. All I saw was a letter from, you know, the Crown, blah, 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 whatever in England saying that they're kicking me out of their country and that I was not, you know, not allowed or not persona non grata kind of thing. And they put a stamp in your passport so everybody else knows it too. And, you know, I'm feeling low as whale shit here. You know, I didn't even do nothing wrong. I didn't even have a chance to. I just showed up. And they kicked me out, and I was pretty bad after 4 days, and nobody heard hide nor hair of me. And I show back up in Baltimore, and I call my buddy's dad because he lived in Virginia, not too far away. And I say, "Hey, Pete, where are you, Charles?" Like, "Well, I'm back at BWI, kind of. Well, it's a long story. I called at like 3 in the morning too, and brother come and got me. Like, bless his heart, but I was staying at his house and I was thinking like, maybe this is a sign. Maybe I shouldn't do Europe, you know, fuck this. I should just go home and get a job or do something with my life. I'm like 22 years old. I should do, I didn't know what to do.
I should try to grow up.
But then Peter calls me from fucking Ireland saying like, "Oh yeah, it's great here, man. You should see like, well, the wedding's not for a few more days. Maybe you could get a last minute flight." And I was like, maybe. So I get on the old Google machine, and next thing you know, I got an open-ended flight directly to Ireland, right? And it was cheaper than what I paid 6 months in advance when we went to London for a round-trip ticket. And mind you, if you get kicked out of a country, they will redirect your flight and use your return flight as the means to expunge you from the country, just so you know. But at any rate, I bought a whole new ticket, open-ended. I didn't have to say when I was coming back. I just knew that I was leaving the next day for Shannon. And I remember getting on the plane, and we're up, you know, it's about a 6-7 hour flight. And I'm thinking like, oh man, you know, like, what's he gonna ask me? I gotta have all my ducks in a row. I'm thinking like, oh, this is a horrible decision. What are you doing? You're just gonna get turned around again. They're gonna see that mark in your passport from when you got kicked out of England. You know, it's not gonna work out well for you, dude. Well, you know, we landed in Shannon, and you got the Irish citizen line, and you got the everybody else line, and I'm in the everybody else line, and there's this old red-faced looking dude that kind of looked pissed off, and I was like, oh, this is the part where Charlie gets fucked. Like, oh man, here we go. And he's giving a couple dudes kind of the riot act in front of me, and I was close to the front of the plane, and well, anyway, finally I come up in the line, and it's like, your passport. I give it to him, and he's rifling through it. It's like, don't keep going, don't keep going, don't keep going. He sees the mark from the UK when they kicked me out of England, and he's like, oh, hold on a minute here, lad. I was like, here we go. This is a big mistake. I fucked up. I know it. Like, I see you have a bit of trouble with the English now, do you? I said, well, you could say that we're not on the best of diplomatic relations at this point in time, or henceforth. And what may have transpired in a couple weeks, like, oh, you have nothing to worry about, son. And it's like, you're more than welcome here. And he stamps his little Irish stamp in my passport right next to it. It's like, you're more than welcome here, lad. And he pulls out like a 10 euro and gives it to me. And it's like,
really?
The pub's over here. And he yells at his friend across, hey, Jimmy, this lad just got kicked out of England a week ago. And he's like, welcome to Ireland. Everybody's losing their mind. I'm going straight to the bar. I'm getting wasted. And this happens for a month. It's like, oh, you're the lad that got kicked out of England. We're going to church now, boy. And so we go down to the pub, and I mean, like, I almost died a couple times. Like, I was water skiing the River Shannon. I jumped off the big man's diving board at like 2 in the morning off the coast of Y'all. Like, that's fucked up, and I strongly don't recommend that. But I was like crawling out of the ocean all butt naked, beat up, and there's like blood all over me, and like, oh, dude, it was a rough fucking time. But man, I love Ireland. I mean, I love fucking Ireland. It was such a good experience. I mean, I met a lot of cool people there. We had a lot of laughs, a lot of cracks. It was good. And, after that, I went down to Belgium. And from Belgium, went through like Amsterdam, hung out in Amsterdam quite a while. Went over to Germany, went to Berlin. I hung out in like Wallstadt and Braunschweig a fair bit. That was cool. Went to Berlin, Austria, Switzerland. Went to the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic is banging. If you ever get a chance, go to Prague. Like, everybody talks about Amsterdam, but Prague is where it's at. Like, that shit was awesome. Another place that people don't talk about, Croatia. Highly recommended. Go to Split or Dubrovnik, summertime. Just say, thanks, Charlie. That's a great idea. Nobody ever talks about Croatia, but goddamn Croatia's pretty cool. I went to Hungary, Italy. I spent a lot of time in the Riviera in the wintertime. That's a good place to bum around. Everybody's very accommodating. I even had a good time in France, and, I talked a lot of shit about France before I went there. I had an aunt that was French, and some French dude hit me on his bicycle while I was skateboarding one time, and so I kind of held a grudge, but the French people were very cool to me. Very cool to me. Yeah, Italy was cool. I ended up sneaking back into England, and fuck England. We won't even get into that. I could tell you a couple stories, but it'd probably get me in a little bit of trouble. But I did sneak back in. And
that's about as American as it gets, too, man. Getting kicked out of the place that we fucking came here to get the fuck out of.
Well, I snuck in the trunk of a car, and of course it was over a girl, right? Because I had a chick at the time, and she was going to school up in Leiden, and so I snuck over in the trunk of a car from some dodgy fucker that I knew in Amsterdam. I had a little bit of shit going on in Amsterdam now. We did have some interesting hustles. Well, now that weed's getting legal here in America, if you guys remember all that, like, White Widow back in the early 2000s, I was a key player in getting a lot of them fucking seeds back from Europe. But that was another part of this whole hustle as well. Like, we had some fucking crops going back over here before I got back. And if you really want to know the truth about it, I smuggled them seeds all the way from Amsterdam down to the Pope's backyard, and I sent them right from the goddamn Vatican. And so I come back, and if you guys had like White Widow back in the early 2000s, you could probably just, do me a solid for that one, because I was a key player in that.
Everybody owes Charlie a beer for something.
Yeah. Someday. I mean, now it don't mean shit. They're like, oh, White Widow, whatever, dude. We have like the Ultra Thunder, Matanuska Thunder ain't even nothing anymore, but we didn't even talk about that shit. That was part of the Alaska hustle too, but we've already moved well past the Alaska
when
hustle.
we were kids, it was like dirt weed and like a few other specialties. And you didn't know what you were getting either.
Oh, dude,
you couldn't walk into a store like you can now.
I sold pounds of brick weed, and I was making bank off of it back in like, the 90s and shit, but that was whole nother world, and you could get in a whole lot of trouble. I mean, I've been to jail for, weed and shit, but nowadays, like, there's nothing that's really
it's
fundamentally illegal. Like, I've been in jail for skateboarding. I've been in jail for, like, the dumbest shit that's all totally legal now.
Yeah, it's fucking kind of annoying, right?
Well, it's ridiculous to think that, like, all the bullshit that we had to deal with was completely irrelevant at the time, victimless crimes and all. Well,
Yo, speaking of victimless crimes, dude, let's get back to choppers.
choppers.
That's a victimless one.
Rule everything around me. That rust bucket. Oh, god damn.
So is the rust bucket what inspired the first Stampede race?
No, the Stampede happened before, but the rust bucket was inspired by the first Stampede race in a way, because like I read about the first Stampede in a magazine, and I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm a grown-ass man. I can do this now. I got some money. I got 2 nickels to rub together. You know, I've been in the oil field for a few years. I had some cash, and I was like, now is the time. I'm gonna buy this pile. I'm gonna put this together. This is my jam. I am built for this.
Yeah,
And
buddy.
so, like, I bought this pile off this dude in Ukiah, and supposedly he had it all tore down for paint. It was like an Evo with a 5-speed Ultima frame. It had like a fucking DNA Springer, which I broke inside of a year. You know, it had like all the big bits to get it, and I think I give like 7 G's for it, and that was in 2005. 2006 was the first year of Stampede, and I was like, okay, that's my finish line. I'm gonna get it running. I'm gonna get down there. I'm gonna fucking do it. I barely had it together. You know, I got down to New Mexico. I was having mad wiring problems. I barely made it to the start line. I lost my fucking phone, all my tools inside of 50 miles out of the gates. It's vibrating like a son of a bitch. You know, like I had to stop and put a new main seal in it and grants with my buddy from Canada, and he hooked me up. We got it going. Like, I had my kickstand fell off. It's falling the fuck apart the whole way across. But man, you get to the end, and we were partying. Like, it was fucking epic. And I was like, this is my jam. I am into this shit. And there was a lot of dudes, because, you know, it's still like choppers was a big deal, and everybody was super stoked on it. And there's all these motherfuckers there, and, you know, like, everybody's like real, I don't know, there's like dudes with cameras following them and stuff like that. Like, they were super into it. And then the next year was wild though, because, you know, like, the second year we were going to do it, only 13 dudes showed up, and me and Ricky Lewis were the only dudes that showed up that had done it before. And so me and Ricky just kind of picked up the ball and run with it. Ricky done it for a couple of years, and I'd done it for all of them other than that 8th year that I didn't even really make it to the line after blowing up 4 motors and 2 bikes trying to fucking get there. And then I had to fly back to Arizona and then ride back to North Carolina just to get to the party. And I didn't even finish the Stampede per se, even though I did it in like, you know, under 2 days.
Yeah.
But it was a wild trip, dude. It was a wild fucking trip. But that rust bucket was like very closely tied with the beginnings of the Stampede, and you know, nobody else showed up, and I kind of just pick up the ball and run with it. And from then on, I guess I was putting it on until we wasn't. And we had a good run at it. You know, 10 years is pretty good to chase the dragon, but, you know, everything runs its course.
It seems like everything in the motorcycle world goes about 10 years.
Well, 10 years is a good run at it, and you don't want to be no one-trick pony and do the same shit for never and ever. Man, you know, like, who does that?
Yeah.
And we already covered a lot of the big, you know, checked all the boxes that we should have checked as far as, like, routes and roads, and, you know, we already done it. And why are you going to risk your ass year after year for limited returns?
Right.
I have different feelings about some of that too, which maybe we'll talk about, maybe we won't. You know, I mean, you have a handful of dudes that's really chasing, you have I don't know. Don't get me started. It had its ups and downs. We did really good, but like, how far are you going to extend yourself just to prove a point whenever you're just proving it to yourself? Like, you don't really have to get over anybody in this world other than your goddamn self. And once you can get over that, the rest of it doesn't really matter. You already know. I already know what it looks like on the other side of that coin. You know, like, I've already played that game. I played it a lot and extensively, and it was good. I learned a lot. I saw a lot of weird shit that I probably never would have seen before. Did a lot of weird shit, and you keep creeping over the line. It's like, you know, it's like if you try heroin. It's really good at first, but it's never as good as the first time.
Yeah.
And you keep chasing that old time feeling, but whenever it starts to get routine and you're just needing it to feel normal, you know you're fucking up. And I got to that point where, you know, I just felt like that was my new normal, and it didn't have to be. And eventually you have to say, okay, let's move on. that was then, this is now, here we are.
Yep. Yeah. So what was like after the smoke, not after the smoke out, but like after the Stampede shit was done, did you miss it that first year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I still miss it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But, nothing's ever going to be exactly the same anymore.
So, dude, what came first, the Stampede or you riding for the horse?
Stampede.
Okay.
I didn't write for the horse. Like, I sent in some article, actually, about El Diablo, like, the first or second one, and it was a pretty funny article, as I recall. It was like the first or second EDR. I come on my Honda Shadow, and it was kind of a hoot, We showed up here, and it was like the same time that these college kids was having a spring break, and like all them Death Trap dudes, like Wolf, all those guys was down here with us, and we're stealing all these frat kids' beer and like putting the smooth on they chicks, and they're getting bent out of shape, and we're roughing them up. Like it got really hilarious really quick. Like we had such a good time down here, even though we had no idea what was going to happen, but we made a very large time of it. And there weren't a fraction of the dudes here at that point. It was like EDR 1 or 2. Fuck, we had a good time. But it was like a whole nother lifetime. And I don't know. I've been coming ever since then. I think I might have missed one, but like I made most of the EDRs, and it's like a good reason to go to Mexico. I mean, after that I started coming to San Felipe every now and again, just on my own, just on the off season, because it's rad, and it's I love San Felipe. This is a great fucking place to be.
How many lifetimes do you feel like you lived already?
No, I don't know. It's one.
Do you feel like one weird chapter after another, or do you feel like it's just one big chapter?
It's kind of just been. It's been a lot of weird chapters, but it's like one weird chapter going on so much that you don't even think about all of it. And like since we've been talking about it, it brings up a lot of things that I haven't thought about for years. But it's weird how the whole thing just goes and changes again. The whole landscape and everything stays the same. I don't know, you think about it, like, we're essentially the same dudes that we started out as, but not really, like, let's say you have a pile of coins on the table. Let's say you have a pile of pennies. You have 100 pennies on the table, pile them up in a pile, and every day you take a few pennies out and put a few pennies in. And you keep removing the same amount of pennies and putting new pennies in. Eventually, it's going to be an entirely different pile of coins, even though it looks like the same pile of coins.
Right.
So is it the same pile of coins, even though it's completely fundamentally different? You think about like the lifespan of a guy. They say that all of our cells are replaced on in 7 years. Like in every 7 years, we're an entirely different guy, but I'm still the same dude that I was at that 4-year-old kid crawling up on that Goldwing. I'm still that same fucking dude riding on my little Mormon buddy's dirt bike. I'm still that same dude telling my dad, like, well, I'm leaving home, 15, whatever. I got this figured out. See you later, dude. I'm still the same dude, but I ain't the same dude.
Yeah.
But it's still the same pile of coins. So am I the same pile of coins, or am I a completely different creature? I mean, all we can really hope to do in our existence is try to get over ourselves. And we only have a limited amount of time with which to do so. Like even if you live 90, 100 years old, that's not a lot of time. And as you get older, those years go by a lot faster. I mean, when you're 5 years old, a year is huge because that's 1/5 your lifespan. You get over 40 and they're just blinking by. It's like, oh, it's hot, it's going to be cold, it's going to be hot, it's going to be cold, whatever. I'm going to work, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Next thing you know, you're damn near dead. So, grab onto it a little bit if you can before it all slips by, because, we're all given just a limited amount of time. Given our limited amount of time now, I don't know how much further you want to go. I mean, we could talk forever, but...
No, I say we wrap it up, man.
Yeah, I mean,
we could do part 2, 3, 4, 5, whenever.
Yeah, we dabble in it a little bit.
Yeah, we just dip our toes in the water. That's cool.
We're putting our toes in the water. I hope you guys groove on. If it's boring, I'm sorry. I mean, we're just sitting here shooting the shit on the roof. here in lovely San Felipe. The sun's almost gone down. It's getting dark. I'm out of booze.
Fuck yeah. Want to tell people where to reach you, or do you don't even care?
I don't know. Y'all know where to find me.
I'll put the Instagram in the show notes.
Yeah.
That's all.
Nobody really gives a shit, but I just hope you groove on it. You know, I ain't chasing nothing. We're just hanging out, shooting the breeze.
That's it, dude.
If this makes your morning a little better, you know, driving to work, taking a shit, whatever you're doing, I'm cool with it. And if not, then I'm cool with it too. But salud, dinero y amor. You know, coming to you live from goddamn San Felipe, Mexico. Hope you guys had a little bit of fun here on this weird mental trip we've taken, and maybe we'll continue this discourse at a later date.
That's it, man. See you guys next week. Fuck yeah, Charlie.